Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Otsego City Council meeting. Tonight is Monday, September 26th. Audra, can you have the record show that our city attorney, city planner, city engineer, all council members are present, along with the assistant city administrator and the administrator. At this time, I will ask you all to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our first item of business is the open forum. This is the portion of the meeting where you can come to the podium, state your name and address, and limit comments to 5 minutes or less. Would anyone like to speak at this time?
Troy Anderson, 8130 Oakwood. Hey, I'm just, what is this franchise fee all about? And what's it gonna pay for? This franchise fee that I got from Right Hennepin Electric, my electric company.
Adam, I can turn it over to staff.
Sure. So the franchise fee is a way for the city to raise revenue.
For what?
Council has dedicated that money to the city's pavement management program. So any maintenance on the city's street network will be paid
Well, I've
for.
lived in here for 20+ years, dude, and my road has not had no frickin' pavement improvement. As the last one to get plowed out, all the plows go right past my place before frickin' on first and last snow. And by the time I get home from work, that thing is so full of ice, you can't even get it plowed anymore till spring. Just wondering where my money's going.
Troy, can you give me your address again? I didn't catch it.
8130 Oakwood.
Ron, do you have when Mr. Anderson's road was done, when it will be redone?
It was last done as an overlay in 1999.
Yeah.
And it's proposed to be reconstructed in 2025.
And there's absolutely, I mean, there's no streetlights on that whole block.
So streetlights are separate on in regards to if residents are interested in streetlights or concerns with that, they
What's
can
this money gonna pay for?
to build roads, reconstruct roads. So previously, the council had a 50-50 split on if a road was redone. So you would be potentially faced with anywhere from 8,000 to 19,500 for.
What do my property taxes pay for?
So your property taxes pay for the 50% of what the city was paying for, along with fire.
Why do you need money from my electric company for me to pay?
And Mayor, just a quick question. 2025 is supposed to, it's scheduled for a what?
For reconstruction.
Reconstruction? Are those large lot,
These are 1 acre.
1 acre lots?
1+.
What would the assessment on some of those larger lots have been passed if we weren't gonna be using it? I know it's hard to come up with, but the range.
I'd say probably $5,000 to $10,000.
Sir, what we're
And that
talking,
would have been, and I'm sorry,
go
that
ahead.
would have been an assessment to the property owner.
Correct.
I'll set them.
Huh?
I'll set.
Yeah, go
Sir, what we discussed, reason why the franchise fees are there because of, we had a previous build, I believe, last year. And what we're trying to do is, so when your road comes up in 2025,
Previous build, you can talk to me, dude. I run heavy equipment, so I do everything you're talking about.
perfect. So when you look out of your street or in the neighborhood that we plan to redo, like your road, curb, everything,
Yeah.
what they're talking about is what would you be assessed? So if it's $10,000 per neighbor, do we charge you $1,000 a year for just city taxes? Or do we give you $1,000 at the plan that we saw over a 10-year span, which is $100, your taxes go up, then everybody pays that franchise fee for your gas and your electric. So basically, instead of
My property taxes are going up considerably.
the city tax, county tax, and school tax, make sure you read all three, because the city tax is usually pretty level. But the other two, keep an eye on those. So make sure, I know it's sticker shock when you first see that. But make sure you look at city tax, county tax, and schools. Those are the county tax and the schools are usually the biggest. City, we've been doing, actually, we're very good. But also be sure with, when it comes to your streets and everybody else's, make sure that you don't get that big sticker shock when you get your pavement and curb done. We'd rather have you charge $100 a year than $1,000 a year to pay for that 10-year period of what you and your neighbors would have to pay to have that street and curb done. That's why you have franchise fees. Everybody in Otsego has it. So your tax, your tax sticker shock, as it were, doesn't affect you when you first see that. You'd be like, okay, $100, and then they go, other than, whoa, 1,000. Why do I have to pay this 1,000? Then we have to see what.
All right, just say somebody's going off the grid. How are you gonna get the cash from them if they ain't taking electricity from right Hennepin?
Use their electricity and gas. So it's like both, but off grid.
Yeah, it's a meter-based fee, so it won't be applicable.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm Alan Burr. I have a 22 Sioux Trail, Elk River, Minnesota.
Sorry, I didn't catch your first name, sir.
Alan,
Alan?
and I'm wondering why we have to pay this in the trailer park. Because the trailer park, we don't own it. The trailer park is owned by Dark and Walled, River Bend. And why are we paying anything like this in the first place? Because I don't understand. When I rent a piece of land, I don't rent all this other stuff. I don't rent the roads. They're supposed to be taken care of by the owner, not me. Then why am I getting assessed this fee that I don't understand in the first place? Now, I was told it was to deal with putting in electric stuff for electric cars and gas companies and all this garbage, but it ain't that. But I don't know why we're getting charged for it, because it's not my property. That property is rented. I pay them $535 a month just to park my trailer on it. And I don't understand why I should be paying a $4 franchise fee, because I don't own the road. I don't have the road. That's Darkenwald's problem, not mine. No, I don't know how Tim feels about it. But I don't know, when you start passing this around to everybody and give it to other people, it don't make no sense to me. That'd be like saying, all right, I got a little shop inside a Cub. I got to pay to help them cover their parking lot? Give me a break. I think this is the first time I've never ever spoke to anybody without using a swear word. So I guess you're considered just as lucky as I am. So I just don't understand it. You know, the housing, that's a different story. I don't have anything to do with the house. I got a trailer house sitting on a piece of property that I rent. So in my book, I don't think there should be a fee. Now, I don't usually go to these meetings because nothing ever gets changed anyhow. I've been to them before and nothing's gotten changed. And I've been to this one, and I'm sure it's not going to get changed this time either. But I just came in to air my complaint. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other comments? Any more comments? All right, we will close the open forum and move on to consider our agenda for approval. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to add or delete at this time? Adam?
Mayor, staff would request to add item 5.1, which would be to consider award of quotes for the left turn signal improvement on Highway 101.
Anyone else have anything? And a motion would be in order. Tom,
Madam Mayor, I'll move to approve the agenda as submitted with one amendment, adding 5.1.
second. Motion by Tom, seconded by Brittany. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Our next item is our consent agenda. A motion would be in order. Yes, Brittany.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as written.
My second.
Motion by Brittany, seconded by Jeff. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 4 is our city council reports and updates. We will first start out with our heritage preservation. Brittany.
Madam Mayor, I have nothing.
All right, next would be our Parks and Rec Commission update. We met with HKGI. I was like, I'm drawing a blank at their acronyms, but they were present at the Park and Rec meeting to go over North Landing updates, which we are hoping to complete that as a grant project with the DNR.
Carrick's Lane,
Or sorry, what did I call it?
Norn.
Norrin. Well, see, I was thinking river. Sorry. Carrick's Landing. And but it does have something to do with Norrin because it would obviously be in conjunction with potentially down the river using kayaks. And then we also discussed wayfinding, and it was just a recap of the festival. Next is Planning Commission. Tom.
We did not have anything at Planning Commission.
Next is Public Safety. Tina.
Do you want to take this since I came in a little late?
Yes.
I'll follow up. but
Sure.
anything.
So with public safety, we reviewed obviously the logs with our Wright County deputies and then also the ambulance service and the fire departments. There was just some updates on the additional signage that was put along Queens Avenue. Those are now permanent because there was the engine braking concerns on Queens Avenue. And then we also had a resident present that evening that actually happens to be here that evening. So she was in attendance, which we always welcome visitors. So, Tina, what else would you like to add?
I mean, you covered pretty much everything. I came in when we were just discussing about our Wright County deputies and the space for them, which we have here,
Yes,
but
updates have been made.
perfect. Well said.
Yep.
Thank you.
You are welcome. All right, we still are still under city council reports and updates. Anyone have anything? All right, we will move to staff reports and updates, and there was item 5.1. We'll go over that first, and then we will go to each person. Adam?
I'll let City Engineer Wagner take this. I am sharing on the screen the materials that were passed out on the dais
Okay.
For you this evening.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This is for the local partnership program that we worked with MnDOT to secure a grant for placing flashing left-hand turn signals on the county state aid highways of 36, 38, and 42, so that if there is no other vehicles crossing in front of you, that those people would be free to take the left-hand turn rather than wait. And we went out for quotes last Tuesday on that, and we got 4 quotes back, and we got them well below engineer's estimate. We're at $59,595 for Granite Ledge Electrical Contractors. They were the low quoter, and with this amount, 40% is about going to go from MnDOT, 50% will be the city or the county and 10% the city. So we're looking at between $6,000 and $10,000 for the city's portion for this project. So it's well under budget, and we think the reason it's so far under budget is the contractor can do this work in the winter. Most of the time their guys are sitting in the building without any work to do because it's typically summer work, but this gets their guys out working. And it is a 12-week wait for those new signal heads to come in. So we brought it forward as quickly as possible so we can get the work completed and get those signals revised with left-hand flashing yellows. So we're looking for approval, accepting the quotes, and then we'll move that on and get everything processed through MnDOT.
And MnDOT has seen this.
Yes, they have. They sent a letter of concurrence. That was what we were waiting for. We got that almost immediately after we asked for it. So we were able to put that on this council meeting rather than wait for the next one.
And the county has also been made aware of this.
They have been.
Questions for Ron?
Ron, what was the time frame? 12 weeks, did you say? Or
What was the question?
what was the time frame? You mentioned 12 weeks.
12 weeks is how long it's taking to get the product so that the contractor can finish the work. We have a February 28th completion date at this point. They'll probably start work in November, pulling wires through the conduits from the mast arms and signals back to the control boxes.
Thank you.
Tom?
I was going to. I
Go
didn't
ahead.
get a question.
Nope, go for it. Nope, no question.
No more questions.
Nope.
All right. I'll make a motion.
All right, Tina?
All right, motion to adopt resolution 2022-75, accepting quotes and awaiting a contract for the Highway 101 ramps signals improvement project, city project number 22-09 to Granite Ledge Electrical Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $59,595.
My second.
Motion by Tina, seconded by Jeff. Is there any discussion? Tom?
Madam Mayor, this will cost the city a little under 6,000 again. That will come out of the capital improvement budget.
Correct.
All right. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Finally get some blinking yellow lights on.
Nice quote.
Should have been built
Yeah.
that way.
Very nice.
All right. We'll start with Sabrina.
Thank you, Mayor. No updates for me tonight.
Okay, Adam.
Had to grab the mic. Just let council know, I have a bond rating call with Standard & Poor's tomorrow for the Series 2022A issuance.
Okay.
The mechanic is expected to start on Monday, October 3rd. And the utility billing position that was approved tonight is expected to start the same day. That's all I have. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Audra.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have just a couple updates. Just note that absentee balloting did start on this Friday. And also to remind people that the photo contest is open and you can vote daily up until Monday, 5 p.m. next week on October 3rd.
What's your favorite?
Oh, I can't say.
I tried
Get that out of her
every time.
every
I
time.
like
All
them
right.
all.
There you go. Dave.
Nothing for me. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, Dan.
Mayor, nothing for me either.
All right, Ron.
Just update the water tower number 4 will be filled tomorrow.
Will there be any issues with people's water or water pressure in regards to that?
No.
Okay. Just preparing if I need to take phone calls. Thank you. All right, Jason.
evening. One of the things I wanted to touch on, I guess, kind of got brought up. One of the public safety commissioners just had a question about one of the statistics, actually. So when the sheriff's office provides our call for service log or a case log, it's going to give everything that's happened in the city. It's going to code it down specifically to, whether it's domestic, car accident, an assault call, whatever. One of the codes is called the juvenile runaway code. The juvenile runaway code, I think to the uneducated sometimes looks a little, just a little bit of an ambiguous term of what exactly does that mean? What's going on with that? So just wanted to touch base on that because the statistic actually is going to show that this year we probably have 4 times as many as we did last year. So last year we had, I think, a statistic of 11 juvenile runaways in the city of Otsego. Right now we're on pace for probably around 40. So kind of an explanation of what that is and why that is. Kind of a twofold thing. So first, with the juvenile runaways, we typically handle, it could be mom or dad are calling in. Hey, it could be something as simple as my son or daughter, they got upset with us. They want to go cool down. However, they haven't come back for half an hour, whatever the case is. We try to weigh it in that situation, depending on, how the deputy investigates it as okay, we'll go cruise the area, see if we can find them walking to Holiday or Quick Trip or whatever, trying to go get something to eat. It could be the other end of the spectrum where it could be they just jumped in a car with some random person, they have completely disappeared. We do treat missing person reports essentially the same as a juvenile runaway report, in that if that case is activated, we assign a detective to it. The second the detective checks on, we treat it as a missing person. We enter the person into the missing persons crime, the National Crime Information Center, so that this sounds cliche, but if all of a sudden they're down in Kansas City and some Kansas City cop runs across, and if they type that name in, it's going to show this person is missing from Otsego, Minnesota. Obviously, the reason why that got brought up was, why is the number 4 times as high this year? I don't necessarily know if I have an explanation to that. Especially, we tried to treat that code a little bit different. So if a juvenile walks away from their house, a deputy finds them walking down the street, says, hey, you just need to cool down, brings them home. We're going to treat that more as a juvenile complaint, and that's how the code will go in. Once they get entered into the National Crime Information Center, we treat it as a juvenile runaway. So even after changing it to strictly that, last year we didn't do that. We still have that number, it's really high. So I don't know if it's just a case of, kind of like we discussed with the traffic at the schools, why is it that we have a perfect storm this year that we're having this many more juvenile runaways versus last year, the years before? I really don't have a real specific reason I can even put on that. It's just, that's how it's gone this year. I have noticed, just because it seems like we're spending a lot of time, responding to these calls, investigating them, and I'm trying to figure out what the pattern is. We do get as many entities as we possibly can involved. We get the school involved, we get any sort of school resource officers involved. We'll obviously speak with parents in every capacity that we can. I think at this point we only have 1 or 2 that are actively missing. However, typically when we handle those, we have an idea of where they are. They just are actively trying to stay away from either mom and dad or squad cars. So it's kind of an interesting one, just because we do treat them super serious. We don't want to, obviously, just about every single one that we deal with is going to be maybe a dispute at home, something that they get frustrated and they want to just get away from a little bit or cool off, like I said. However, we do have some serious implications of that. We have genuinely, especially in county as a whole, where we've had runaways end up in other states, and we're having a whole different entity have to investigate what's going on with it. So just a reality of what we're dealing with these days. It does become a very time consuming process, because just like I said, we're going to treat every single one as a missing person until we know it's not. So it just, like I said, the statistics is going to look a little weird once it hits the end of the year, where you take a look at the graph chart and you got to go, why did that jump up? Like I said, that's one of the things I want to look at and go, what's different this year than last year? I don't know if it's just a case of, again, we can always blame COVID and how everything's transitioned over the past year since home learning and the computer and Zoom stuff that they've done. So I don't know. Kind of a morbid topic, I know, just because I know we're talking about our children in town, but like I said, it's an important topic to cover because it's something that we're dealing with quite frequently. I really don't have too much else on my list.
I know Tina had brought up and Jesse had brought up a little bit, just our room inside the building. The deputies have really appreciated kind of a change of scenery in there. So I do thank you guys for looking at that. That's been a big deal to the guys to be able to go in there and turn off being a cop for half hour, 45 minutes at a time. So
I'm glad they like it.
questions for me?
Tom?
Madam Mayor, when you were talking about the juvenile runaways, did you say it's coded differently now? I mean, as far as like a half an hour versus like a 24 hour?
There's kind of some back end work on the clerical side and from the statistical side where if we for sure enter them in as a missing person, even as short as that is, we've had it where we go, yep, let's get it entered in the computer. Our dispatch enters it into the missing person database. And then literally 5 minutes later, they go, all right, sorry, they just walked in the door. Crap.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It just becomes a time consuming thing. It's on the back end. We have to note that specifically is a juvenile runaway and that we can back trace it to show there was a NCIC entry at that point. If it's something completely different where 5 minutes before that gets entered in, we just treat it as a juvenile complaint where it's not coded as a runaway. Last year, we were not doing that. If at any point a parent called in that said, hey, my kid just ran out the door, they said they're running away to grandma's house or a friend's house or whatever, we'd pretty much plug it in as a juvenile runaway and we just leave it at that. So this year, that's where it's kind of showing like not only are we dealing with more of them, but even from last year when we weren't encoding it that way. So we wanted to get it real specific down to NCIC entry runaways.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
how long, Jason, do they have to be essentially missing for before?
No, so
There's no
it applies to missing persons in general too. So one of the things probably 15, 20 years ago when I started, that was kind of the policy or standard operating procedure was if you wanted to call in a missing person, you had to go, well, it's got to be 24 hours. That doesn't exist. There's actually a specific law that states into place. If you call in a missing person, we're going to take the information and we're going to basically go, okay, the person that's making this report knows this person better than we do. So if they're calling in 911, hitting the panic button, hey, we need to do something, then we're going to go, okay, they must know what they're talking about. We're going to get this entered in immediately. So that immediately when a detective checks on, they see that this is a case that needs to be actively investigated and they start getting the ball rolling on it. So to answer the question, none. It could be 2 minutes that they're out the door and they want a report filed, or 5 days. We've had all across the board on it. And so we just get it entered in the second the report gets made to us.
Any other questions for Jason?
I tried eating up about 40 minutes there.
Thank you for your update.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, sir.
All right, does anyone else have anything? And a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So
Second.
Motion by Tom, seconded by Tina. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The meeting is ended. Thank you all for attending.
You know what I just thought? What did Adam send today? That's great. I know what happened here. Just so much. Okay.